They stand on their feet for the 49ers on kickoff weekend throughout the National Football League. Moments ago in this stadium, the introduction, the return of number 20, Garrison Hearst.
And finally a running back out of Georgia, number 20, Garrison Hearst.
Former 1,000-yard rusher now back to play today for Steve Mariucci, who begins this his 5th season, admitting loyalty on his part to Hearst, a factor in his patience through those 2 years, seeking now San Francisco's first winning year in 3 seasons.
You can just anticipate the butterflies that are going through his stomach right now. I never had that opportunity to be out that long. That's something you never want to wish on a player, but you know he's got to be excited.
He squares off today against the winningest active coach in the National Football League, Dan Reeves.
It's a tail. Win the toss. Will receive.
Part of the old coach. The players have noticed it. More open to change. A new generation.
Yeah, every player to a person tells you that Dan Reeves, hasn't changed his style in terms of how he gets all after it. Everyone knows he's a detail-oriented guy, but a little more mellow in terms of his approach to his players. More accepting, more open to their input and how the team is ran. But at the end of the day, don't be fooled. It's still Dan Reeves' team.
So the kickoff unit coming on for Atlanta, and that would include this rookie in Jay Feely in his NFL debut from the University of Michigan at the age of 25. Kicking off to a former member of this Falcon team, Vinny Sunderland. Number 14 was in camp with Atlanta, signed within the week out of Purdue, the former all Big Ten receiver. And back deep 2 with Jonas Lewis. Feely with the football on the tee, the second half of our doubleheader on kickoff weekend on Fox, underway from 3 Cobb Park. Jonas Lewis slipped 1 tackle and is up to the 27-yard line. A return of 16. Good field position as San Francisco comes out offensively here up front. Look to the left side. Deese in his 10th year. And you also saw Ray Brown in his 16th. Terrell Owens and J.J. Stokes in the lineup together, and Hearst emotionally introduced a short while ago. And at quarterback, Jeff Garcia, and now his 3rd season as a starter, took over midway 2 years ago for Steve Young, and coming off, as mentioned, that Pro Bowl year.
And we talked about it in the opening. They want to see more balance out of this team. A lot of his yards last year came from behind. They don't want to see that situation again this year.
On the move, he throws, and that's caught by Justin Swift, the tight end who gets the start today with Greg Clark injured and inactive. The other side of the football, up front, this veteran quartet, Andre Carter, a rookie on the outside today from California with Stubblefield. Well, that is San Francisco's front. We'll set Atlanta for you after this snap on second down after the gain of 6. And Hearst met at the line of scrimmage. Ahead for a couple inside. Travis Hall on that stop. Offensive tackle. And there is Travis Hall, but briefly. Along with Shane Dronette, Brady Smith, and Patrick Kearney today. But what Steve Mariucci is terming a miracle in Garrison Hearst being able to return to the National Football League.
Yeah, Garrison Hearst, 2.5 years out of the NFL is just unheard of. And his remarkable recovery, as you touched on earlier, Paul, is more of a result of the San Francisco 49ers making a commitment to him, and in turn, him making a commitment to the team.
Here comes the blitz. They throw underneath, and Ty Streets at midfield. Still on his feet, 45. Ty Streets to the Falcon, 40-yard line. A gain of 25.
And Garcia just basically picking up where he left off last year. Ty Streets is a guy that, along with J.J. Stokes, they need to have involved in this offense in order to have the kind of balance that we've been talking about. We know what Terrell Owens is going to do, but Ty Streets has to be involved in this offense. They said that, between Stokes, Streets, and Owens, we have probably the best receivers in the NFL.
Streets checks out. Did not play a snap in the preseason with hamstring problems. Garcia shifts Beasley. Play action for him. He's going upstairs again. Broken up. Big hit on the near side by Ashley Ambrose. The corner on the pass intended for J.J. Stokes. The 25-yard line. Those corners will lay it on you.
You're going to see Stokes here doing that shallow crossing route, and it looks like you're going to see Ambrose on the other side come into the picture. He could have made a play on this ball, and he just goes to jar the ball out. That's a ball right there that could have been caught by Stokes. Has to bring that ball in.
What about for Ambrose in this his 10th season? His 92nd consecutive start. He and Ray Buchanan, the two corners. Solid for Atlanta.
Solid, solid pros, and they look at this tandem as two of the best in the NFL.
Nice cut by Hurst. A fine 4 yards. Are the wheels back? San Francisco says Garcia, even Mariucci, they didn't see the burst until late in preseason.
No, and we were out at practice the other day, and I had a chance to see him early in the preseason, and you're right, the burst wasn't there. But I tell you what, in practice this week, the guy had a little hitch to his step. I don't know if a lot of that was just because the season was here. There's a gear that you get into in preseason. There's a gear that you get into when the regular season starts. He had that gear during practice last week.
They need 6 on 3rd down. Pressure again for Garcia, and he's sacked for the first time back at the 40-yard line. Taken down. Jasper there, out of Texas A&M, Ed Jasper with the first sack.
And this is a very unheralded defensive line, but they do things well. They do things very well. Coach Johnson, the new coach, defensive line coach, says, this is what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to make it real simple for you. We'll play the run on the way to the quarterback. That way there's no confusion in terms of where you should end up. You should end up on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
Jason Baker, the rookie, gets it away. Side of his foot at the 20. Rolls inside the 10. It wasn't a good punt. There was pressure. They're going to get a great break. Atlanta must start inside its 10-yard line with the roll. 33 yards. The fumbled snap by a rookie in Baker in his first game.
And talking to Coach Mariucci, he said, you know what, this is our worst nightmare. They're going to be really excited because we've got so many young guys on special teams. This is not the kind of excitement you want to see in a game that we know is going to be very balanced going into it. Everyone, the jitters are there coming onto the field, the first plays of the game. Get them out of the way, and let's play football.
His first game, as he hears from special teams coach Bruce DeHaven, and of course Chris Chandler at the helm, his 5th season as Atlanta's opening day started. Jamal Anderson, not much room off the left side on first down. And it's Dana Stubblefield, who comes back after 3 seasons with the Washington Redskins. They say he walked through the door. It was like he had never been gone. Here is Atlanta offensively. Keenan Forney, a 7th-round draft choice to start up front. Bob Whitfield on the left side. In his 10th year, Tony Martin back with Atlanta. His 2nd tour of duty now. Super Bowl year, he and Chris Chandler with quite a tandem. Chandler off his goal line. Hit and driven into the end zone. They'll spot that out at the 1-yard line. Bryant Young with the sack.
We saw it earlier in the sounds of Fox, and you saw how excited Bryant Young was. Talking to him in camp, talking to him before the season. You know this guy said, hey, I'm more comfortable when I have Stubblefield on my other side. That's a great move, great effort move. It wasn't a bunch of technique. A great effort move to get to the quarterback. Very close to being a safety, Paul.
He had 9 sacks last year playing on the inside. He gets 1 here on opening day.
Yeah, you can't underestimate how important it is to have a tandem. You're always talking about having that other guy. Well, Stubblefield is his other guy.
What a hole for Atlanta's first series. Jamal trying to get out of his own end zone is up to the 5-yard line. Taken on by Jason Webster, the corner who hit him first. And it's 4th down.
I tell you what, when you go into a game like this, you want to start talking about questions that need to be answered. First of all,
we welcome those of you joining us today here out west that enjoyed on opening day. Carolina and Minnesota. Sean Jones, I'm Paul Kennedy. Eddie Sutherland to field the punt of Chris Moore, formerly of Buffalo, longtime Buffalo Bill. His 12th season, a yard shy of the inline. Beautiful punt. And he uses the sideline, too. That will sail into the Falcon bench. San Francisco will have it on Atlanta's side of the field. No score early. Excellent first defensive series, wouldn't you say, for a man they call BY here in San Francisco?
You know, Brian Young, you know, it's kind of funny when you talk about the first game of the season. Some guys amp it up, you know, they get pumped up, and then other guys make it happen when the game starts. It's like a, you know, it's like a big-time fight. After the first blow, you better be able to respond, and Brian Young responded in that first series.
See so many new faces on this first weekend of the season. That includes Kevin Barlow, a rookie out of Pittsburgh, 6'1", 238 pounds. He replaces Garrison Hurst, who carried a couple of times in the early going. He's been very, very impressive, this third-round pick. Here comes his first carry. A gain of a couple. Let's take you through scores earlier today around the National Football League on this first weekend. You saw earlier Carolina with the surprise. There you go. 24-13. Chris Winkie returns to his hometown. Orleans over Buffalo today. Tampa Bay found the Cowboys tougher than expected. Garcia on the move, connects with Barlow out of the backfield. A few more scores for you. We had 6 coaches in all debuting today around the National Football League, their first games. Buffalo, of course, had Greg Lewis,
You're going to wind after you put
former
it down.
defensive coordinator. Titans, Owen Herman Edwards handled pretty good in the fourth quarter there. We're told that Jerry Rice has caught 8 passes so far in that game in Arrowhead.
Well, don't say that too loud here in San Francisco. I don't think the fans will want to hear that. They're going to miss him here.
16 seasons for Jerry Rice, 12 Pro Bowls. Still very much evidence around this organization. Quick slant. Tough catch by Ty, who had the 25-yarder earlier, and they pick up 3 here. And see where they spot that. Is it enough for the first down inside the 40-yard line?
And they go empty backfield in that last play. Basically, all they're trying to do in a play like that, a pass can be a run can be a pass, just short enough to try to get the first down. Didn't go far enough past the post to get the first down.
So Steve will punt. That means Jason Baker is back on. Remember, he dropped the first one. Got it off. He's out of Iowa, kicking to one of the league's best, and Darian Gordon, who stands at his 10-yard line. It's at times gusty day. Baker handles this. Gordon calls for the fair catch. And once again, Atlanta must start inside its 10-yard line.
No, doing a great job punting the ball thus far.
Great field position for the San Francisco 49ers here at 3Com. Midway through our first quarter, no score, and yes, Michael Vick debuts with a huddle coming from his own end zone. The most anticipated debut, perhaps since the days of Joe Namath before the merger.
And an interesting position with your back to the wall to put Michael Vick in the game.
His first snap, they give it on the ground, and Jamal Anderson, gain of a half dozen out to the 11-yard line. He is an electrifying presence. And I think that resounds throughout this entire organization. Renewed attitude, and it comes from a 20-year-old rookie out of Virginia Tech. Of course, the first selection in this year's NFL draft.
And Dan Reeves has learned a lot in terms of dealing with a young quarterback. Obviously, having a situation with John Elway, and we've heard all the stories, and my fault, your fault, nobody's fault. But he's made an effort to bring Vick along very slowly. And you see the play call so far, just handoffs, making sure that he has some success in certain plays. That way, there's no pressure on Vick right now to make something happen.
Dana Stubblefield makes it happen again on the inside, wrapping up Jamal Anderson after he picked up 2. And so Michael Vick, just 2 years of college experience and then close to a $70 million contract, playing and being mentored by Chris Chandler, who is 15 years his elder.
Now, this is where you might see something now. 3rd and short. This is a Michael Vick type play where you might see something special from the Atlanta Falcons.
needing a yard on 3rd down. The toss, Anderson. Jamal will get it. Crackback 2 to seal that off on the near side. Algie Crumpler coming in motion.
And now the interesting thing about that play, Michael Vick did not execute that play. He basically just pitched the ball off. But his presence, when you're down there 3rd and short, that's when you could run the option. That's when you could run a trick play with a Michael Vick. And I'm telling you, the more and his guys over there has his defense thinking about this. And you've done your job when you have the defense thinking about what could happen and not paying attention to what's actually happening on the field.
Fresh set of downs and coming off his own goal line. Blitz coming. He gets it away, but throws high, intended for Crumpler. And there is no doubting the velocity, the strength of Michael Vick's arm. He did have Crumpler open.
And if there's a criticism of Michael Vick, when you talk to some of the guys on the team, they say, listen, we know he has a cannon for an arm, but he throws the hardest ball. When you talk to some of the young guys, Tony Martin, when you talk to some of the old guys like Tony Martin, I should say, he says he throws the ball just incredibly hard. He's going to have to learn when to put a touch on the ball and when to really gun it in there.
On 2nd down, his possession began back at the 5-yard line. Ron Anderson. There's not going to be a lot early up front. The Atlanta offensive line has its hands full, and just checking in, Chike O'Keefer. For Engelberger, it's O'Keefer, his 3rd year out of Purdue, with this stop of Anderson after a pickup of 1. And O'Keefer now headed to the sideline.
And you always want to talk about matchups and the game within the game, and coaches always trying to figure out how to pit their guy against someone else to get that advantage. Well, one of those games within the games in the matchup is Bryant Young against anybody. Now, you're going to see some of Keenan Forney, the rookie out of Hawaii, right now.
He spilled the backfield. Throwing Vick, and he overshoots his intended target and shot Jefferson at midfield. So 2 incomplete passes, and Atlanta will kick it away as Vick has seen his first action.
Little jitters. I mean, that was a bad ball. It had a little bit too much air underneath that ball. It's got to be a better throw than that.
You know how Brett Favre throws high early in games? You know the adrenaline to that?
Yeah, and probably the same thing. Brett is like a caged rabbit when the game starts. And maybe, it doesn't really make a difference. If you love football, you're going to be a little bit nervous when you start a football game. But those weren't very good passes by Michael Vick.
Low snap and kicking it toward the sideline, Chris Moore. Benny Sutherland watches it sail a 2nd time into the Atlanta sideline. Still in the 1st quarter, still without a score, but we have seen the debut of Michael Vick. Michael Vick in the middle of to your left, that's Chris Chandler, and to the right, their 3rd quarterback for Atlanta, the University of Florida, Doug Johnson, playing for Atlanta a season ago. The towel on his head. It's a very warm, sunny day here at Candlestick Point, but Sean, that can change rather quickly. Barry Bonds today becomes the all-time leader, most home runs in one season by a left-handed hitter, 62, surpassing Roger Maris. He hit 2 today in Coors Field. Garrison Hurst had speed to get to the corner, belted out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Ray Buchanan comes up. Thoughts from Bonds in San Francisco, and of course just across the bay where you played, and for Jerry Rice today, 8 receptions in all.
Had a chance to see Jerry in the preseason and see him play, and says he's just totally rejuvenated and glad to get the opportunity to play across the bay, and really think they made a mistake in letting him go. But Terrell Owens, you have to cut the cord at some point. Terrell Owens had gotten to the point where he had to play more and had to get the ball in his hands more.
Like Rice, they move him around and throw behind him. Incomplete. In his last game here in the regular season, he and Garcia connected for an NFL record 20 receptions at the expense of the Chicago Bears on the final game of the year, and one in which was overshadowed by Rice in his final appearance in the stadium.
Yeah, you'll see Terrell Owens just doing a corner and out and trying to make a play on the ball. That ball's just behind him. But you're right, Paul. In fact, it's a funny story. He says he's heard so much negativity about, the fact that he caught those balls on what should have been Jerry Rice's day. And his comeback is, what should have done? Set another record by dropping 21 balls. So it's a no-win situation.
Garcia on third down, wrapped up and dropped back at the 33-yard line. Now the sack by Keith Brooking, the middle linebacker. Moves inside today for the first time in his career, taking over for Jesse Tuggle. Keith Brooking with the sack for the Falcons on Garcia.
Yeah, and Brooking doing a very nice job here, getting through the seam that's created by the off look of the. See this, the fanning out. When they make that fan play, you see Brown right there on the play slamming his fist because he knew he should have turned back inside quicker on Brooking. But that's what Brookins brings to the ball game. This guy's a side-to-side linebacker, can make plays from side to side, and that's what they needed in making the replacement with Jesse Tuggle.
Chris Hudson and Darian Gordon collide. Miscommunication following the 30-yard punt after the sack by Brooking. Alcatraz in the distance. Chris Chandler and this Atlanta offense have been, I might say, imprisoned on their side of the field here in the first quarter. We have already seen Michael Vick today. 2 incomplete passes as Dan Reeves inserts the rookie early, telling our own Tim Ryan we would see him in both halves today. Play action for Chandler. Open down the middle of the field, and that is caught by Tony Martin. San Francisco 39-yard line, a gain of 22 as Tony Martin returns following 2 seasons with the Miami Dolphins back to the Atlanta lineup.
All right, you're going to see Tony Martin here, right here in the slot. He's going to just take it up and just find a hole right here in the seam, where the safety doesn't get over quickly enough, and there's the play. It's good to see them getting back that combination that was so successful for them in their run to the Super Bowl back in 1998.
And Chandler said it was easy to find him. He was always open. Easy to throw to open guys. Anderson in the backfield being led by the H-back and Bob Christian down to the 37-yard line. Let's take you for a St. Louis update to James Jones. And Sean, he got you in there.
Thanks, JB.
That's pass rushing in the booth. But Howie taught him everything.
There you go.
Chandler throws again. Contact at the 10-yard line, and they're a flag. Our first of this game. Jason Webster. Flag for apparent pass interference against Tony Martin. And our referee today, these are replacement officials, of course, as assigned by Mike Piera. And the National Football League, Riley Johnson says indeed pass interference against the 49ers. Spot of the foul would mark this at the San Francisco 7-yard line, so it is a very big call.
Pass interference on the defense. Number 36. Will penalize at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Now you're going to see something very subtle right there with Tony Martin using his body against Webster. One of the very subtle things that a veteran receiver will know how to do. No chance of catching that ball, but he uses his body. A young receiver doesn't know to look back. He'll call every time.
First and goal, Mathis in motion. Anderson picking his way through and to the 3-yard line. A gain of 3 for Jamal Anderson. The power and confidence that he brings now. A resurgent, healthy again, posting that 1,000-yard season a year ago. It's the 4th 1,000-yard season of his career.
They know to be successful, Jamal Anderson has to be in the ball game, has to have big ball games. Ball control, that's what Dan Reeves always talks about. Controlling the ball. And Jamal Anderson is their ball control offense.
2 tight ends. Crumpler in motion for Anderson, who lowers his head and drives close to the goal line. He's inside the 1. Ahmad Plummer out of the secondary holding on to it. It'll be 3rd and goal. It's his 9th carry of the first quarter.
And they've got to get their running game going. Atlanta has to get their running game going. Been held under 100 yards in 13 of their last 16 games. That's not a big deal unless you're a running football team, which Atlanta is.
His possession began at their own 39. A long completion to Tony Martin. It's 3rd and goal. For Anderson, who drives into the end zone for the first score of the season for the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta on the road leads 6-0. The completion, the pass interference call, 1st and goal. Atlanta and Anderson punch it in.
You're going to see the play. It's just an ISO off the left side there, just following his blockers. I mean, when you get that kind of drive off the ball, I mean, it's just like picking grapes at that point.
Chris Moore will set it down for the rookie in Jay Feely. And the kick is through. Atlanta drives the length of the field, leads by a touchdown on the road at 3 count.
We're going to look at the blocking here on the touchdown play. You're going to see the old block here, a lead block, and then Jamal Anderson just following his blockers. When you get that kind of drive on the ball and you don't hold up at the edges right here, that's what happens. Johnny bar the door, you're in the end zone. Even you could run that ball.
I don't know about that. They drove it right at Andre Carter, and concern on the part of the 49ers they might be light on the edges this year. Jamal Anderson, touchdown. And this is fielded by Jonas Lewis, spinning out to the 27-yard line. Next week, the NFL on Fox begins with JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris on America's favorite pregame show. And Jeff Garcia and these 49ers will try and get past Leroy Glover and the hard-hitting Saints. Or Jamal Anderson. Here you go in the Falcons, looking to shut down Marshall Faulk. And the high-octane Rams in the NFC West Showdown. For other regional action, coverage begins at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, out here on the West Coast. 15 remaining our opening quarter. And again, it's the rookie and Kevin Barlow. Bottom of that pile. So the biggest play so far for either team has in effect been a pass interference call of 30 yards that put Atlanta in position for the first score of the day.
If you know Coach Mariucci, that'll eat him alive, because what you're trying to do with this team is build some kind of confidence. We talked about the defense in the opening, and when you have plays like that that are breakdowns in communication or breakdown in technique, that kills you.
Darrell Owens starts the other way. Garcia rolls to the far side. If Garcia guns, Owens tried to tightrope the sideline, and that is a catch. The far side of the field, and a pickup of 5. Garcia so mobile, throwing on the run, and Owens a tall target at 6'3".
See Terrell Owens, and that's the thing they're going to do with Terrell Owens. Always keep him in motion. You're not going to know where he's going to line up. Does a very good job of playing off the defender, and then the pity pat on the sideline to getting those feet down and make the reception.
So the first catch of the year for Terrell Owens. It's on the sideline route. And wrapped up at the 36-yard line, going to his tight end in Eric Johnson, the rookie out of Yale. Close to the first down, may have it as our first quarter comes to a close. Atlanta leading 7-0. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages and a word from your kickoff weekend. This 2001 season with Sean Jones. I'm Paul Kennedy. Welcome on Fox. A good first quarter for Jeff Garcia. Completed 6 of 8 for 48 yards. Mobile quarterback following last year's Pro Bowl year. Success coming late for him, Sean, at the age of 30, following his Canadian Football League days. Fresh set of downs to open the second quarter. And in the back, and Barlow in the flat, and wrapped up immediately and dropped by Chris Draft, the linebacker. No gain on the play. And Draft starting today, a former 49er. A waiver claim for Atlanta. Playing with Brooking and Jordan today. Very mobile in his 3rd season. From right here in the Bay Area, played collegiately at Stanford.
Yeah, Atlanta's defense is very interesting. The defensive line, very unheralded. Kearney, obviously, a couple of years ago, the #1 pick out of Virginia. But then when you start moving guys around and they're linebacking core, you know, they want to be active. You see Brookins now is playing on the outside, not playing in the middle. They drop a safety down in the box as they're doing. And they want to get after you.
This is Owen. In front of Buchanan. Across midfield and a gain of 16. Morrell's second catch of the day.
And on that play, Garcia's going to drop back and just look for Owens coming across. That crease was created because they dropped one of the safeties down to add some run support, and Owens just runs right through the zone.
Terrell Owens posting consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons, including the 20 catches. Remarkable day against Chicago. Now with 2 wide receivers and a couple of tight ends. Justin Swift on the move. Garcia with a lot of time has one of those tight ends. Eric Johnson out of Yale down to the 32-yard line.
And Johnson's a kid that they really, really like. As you know, Paul was on the golf team at Yale. He's kind of like the big guy that carries around the tuba in the band, but does some special things for them. They really think, you know, and they've had great tight ends here in San Francisco. They really believe that he can be an upgrade from the guys that have been playing that position in previous years.
The New Englander, mentioned tight ends, Brent Jones, in seasons gone by, and remind him a lot. Brent Jones. On first down, and a gain of 16. On the ground now, and Barlow has just stood up. The shot by Keith Brooking on the inside to stuff the run.
Yeah, Barlow makes a mistake right there. You'll see what we're talking about here. Barlow, you'll see Brooking right here in the middle of the screen, and this is where they want to see him. They want to see him not necessarily on a guard, but the ability to move around and make plays, scrape around, and then light a guy up right there in the middle. And the rookie mistake that Barlow makes is that you cannot run like a ruler in the NFL. You better dip those shoulders and deliver that hit before he gets a chance to hit you.
Garrison Hurst going out for the pass. They set up the screen to him with a block in front from Ray Brown. He may have the first down. The veteran in Ray Brown in his 16th season still has the wheels to get out in the flat and throw a block, and they pick up 13 yards.
And Paul, you hear how excited the crowd is with the catch by Garrison Hurst, but Ray Brown is the person that makes this play go. Ray Brown is going to get out here, and you see him just skip this guy in, and then he's downfield to get a block. And this is a play that has to get going in the West Coast offense. The screen has to be an integral part of the offense because so much of the routes get downfield. You have to have something that's a little shorter.
Ray Brown says, my only stats, wins and losses as an offensive lineman. Garcia for the end zone, and he misconnects with Terrell Owens, who is screaming for pass interference on Conrad Hamilton. And Hamilton is shaken on the play for Atlanta. Hamilton hobbled. He was in coverage with Terrell Owens, and Owens and Mariucci believe he fell on the back of Owens' legs. That would have set up first and goal for San Francisco.
Yeah, but you'll see Terrell Owens here right in the slot, and he's going to be going down to see him, and then you're going to see him do a little wiggle here to get off. Hamilton tries to recover and seems like he pulls up a little hammy, and I think Owens on that play has a legitimate gripe. It looks like there was a little contact downfield and he missed it.
Conrad Hamilton, who missed all of last season with a leg and knee injury. Former starter, the New York Giants, when Dan Reeves was there.
What's deceptive about Terrell Owens is that he's a big guy, a long strider, much like J.J. Stokes is in running their routes, but he is so physical. He is so physical when he comes off that you don't really know the kind of power that he's doing when he comes off.
Owens in San Francisco driving, trailing by a touchdown. Three-Comp Park, San Francisco, the sellout crowd, Garcia and the 49ers with their 10th play of this drive. Garcia, who's been hot, guns for Owens, and it's broken up incomplete at the goal line by Chris Hudson. What a play by Hudson to bat it down. Starter today at free safety for the first time for Atlanta.
Hudson coming over here. You're going to see him come into your screen, just making a very good play on the ball. Now, this teams play each other so much, you know what's coming. They're playing cover 3 down there, and there are only certain places you can go with the ball. That's one place Garcia had to go with the ball, but Hudson comes across and makes a great play on the football.
Like the injured Hamilton, he was out of football, was Hudson, all last year. Atlanta with 5 defensive backs in now. 3rd down for San Francisco. Owens goes in motion. Garcia steps up. Pressure coming. Garcia gets it away. Was he outside the pocket? It's ruled incomplete. No intentional grounding. Travis Hall, the tackle, was chasing the elusive Garcia. And Atlanta's defense gets the stop shot.
And this is really a collective effort between Kearney, Hall, Droney, as well as Smith. They call themselves the Backstreet Boys. And you see Hall getting after him. And like I said, they're very unheralded, but they love the way Bill Johnson, their new defensive line coach, has come in and just made it real simple for him.
Jose Cortez will attempt the first field goal of his career. The 26-year-old, his first year with the 49ers. And it is good. Cortez connects in this blustery stadium, and San Francisco is on the board in the second quarter. This was the talk of football a year ago in terms of collegiate play. Michael Vick at Virginia Tech. He won 20 out of 21 games, Sean, and what was most impressive was his foot speed as well as his arm strength.
Yeah, the fastest quarterback now in the NFL, and very special play, but like all young quarterbacks, playing quarterback in the NFL is probably the hardest position to just come in and just star in. And learning curve for him is going to be there, and he's just going to have to take his time to develop.
Well, he's unfazed by the fact that Dan Reeves put him in the lineup when the Falcons were backed up into their own end zone.
Not at all. When you talk to the kid, I tell you what, if he doesn't have it all yet, he doesn't lack confidence. And he says, growing up in the Chesapeake Bay area with all the great athletes that have come from that area, he's always been under that kind of pressure to excel, so this is nothing different for him.
You have to go back to 1975, the last time the Falcons drafted #1 in the draft with a quarterback as their selection. That was, of course, Steve Bartkowski. And unlike Michael Vick, it's almost ancient history, but Bart would tell you he started his very first game in the National Football League.
I don't know how ancient that history is. I played against Bartkowski.
Yeah, that was toward the later stages of his career. No offense meant or taken. And Cortez, who just kicked a 39-yard field goal, boots it away. Derek Vaughn, who led the NFL in kickoff returns a year ago, brings it out up to the 29-yard line. This fall, baseball's postseason unfolds right here on Fox. First 8 of baseball's best battle it out. The American and the National League Division Series, both on Fox and Fox Family. And follow the drama of the ALCS, the NLCS, all the way to the crowning moment of 2001 World Series. Baseball's postseason, starting in October, only on Fox. Barry Bonds with a couple of bombs today, number 61 and 62.
Find a way to make it exciting down the stretch for sure.
Quarterback remains Chris Chandler at the moment. He sets up the screen. Here will come Christian. Gets a block, has the sideline across the 40, up to the 45, 46-yard line. A nice block. And the flat by Todd McClure, his center, also came downfield. That's a pickup of 16 yards.
You're going to see the screenplay coming up. And the thing about the screenplay is it is a trick play. In other words, it's a play of deception. We want you to think that the ball is going down deep. We want to see the fact that it's going to be a drop back pass. Then we get overhead. They're doing a very good job of executing that screenplay. And Christian does a very good job of running the football and lowering his shoulder and taking the hits when they come. Both teams want to get off their screens.
Chandler's completed his first 2 attempts of the day. Get the ball on the ground primarily, and do it again. Jamal Anderson, who's hitting the backfield, wrapped up, driven back. Jeff Ulbrich, the linebacker, one of 3 new faces in this linebacking corps today for San Francisco. Ulbrich, Derek Smith in the middle, and Terry Killens, formerly with the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, Ulbrich, the second-year guy out of Hawaii, and I got a chance to see him also in the preseason. What you love about these guys, they don't have experience, but they have go get it. And by that I mean they're going to be active, they're going to run around, and sometimes you can make up for the experience with some kind of youthful enthusiasm.
Played with him last year, his first start of his career. There goes Mathis. Blitz coming. Chandler throws, caught for a first down. Across midfield down to the 44-yard line. A gain of 12 for Mathis in front of the corner, Ahmad Plummer. So how about Chris Chandler overshadowed in all this talk of Vic?
Yeah, a lot of talk of Vic, but Chandler's going to be the guy that has to make it work. You see Mathis going in motion here, squaring up. Then here comes the route running. Knows right away he's got some kind of zone, settles down the zone, and that's the kind of subtle things veteran receivers have to do. Some of the young guys will just, run right through a zone and get knocked out. He knows to sit down in the zone.
They say it's a reinvigorated Chris Chandler in his 14th year. More determined, working harder. Anderson dancing forward for a couple. Maybe the presence of Michael Vick has brought new energy to Chris Chandler's game too. He had a heart-to-heart with Dan Reeves during the offseason. Reeves told him he didn't know if he had a future with this franchise with Vic aboard, and Chandler made a commitment that he was going to be in the weight room every day as part of the offseason program. And
he was right, Paul. He was almost ready to accept a backup role, whatever direction they were going. This is back before the trade was even made. And then recommitted himself to the team, and here he is. He's the starter, and I think for them to go a long way this year, he has to handle it. He's got to make it happen.
Controlling the clock, throwing well. Another completion to Christian out of the backfield. Ulbrich, the linebacker, on his back. And they net 4, driving it to the 36-yard line and out of bounds. Controlled passes for the most part.
Right, and it'll be a long day. It'll be a long day for these 49ers if they can't get better pressure on Atlanta than they're getting right now. They want to try to get there with 4. You cannot get in a position if you're the 49ers where you're going to have to start bringing other guys other than your 4 guys up front because those corners are so young. It's going to put too much pressure on your corners if you can't get there with 4 people.
Nickel package in defensively. San Francisco shift. Bunch formation on 3rd down. Jefferson in motion. They'll run it to Jamal to the 35. And this may be Dan Reeves' first decision today, whether or not, and first of the season, to go for it on 4th down.
And if you want to stab, put a knife in someone's heart in a situation like this, you go for it. Because you want to send a message. If you're a running football team, you want to let people know you're going to run the football. No use punting the ball away here. Go for it.
Dan milking some more time off the clock. Telling Chandler, you saw with the gestures, he talks to the referee. Take the play clock down as much time as possible off the game clock here that has 7:20 remaining. You see on your screen, and call timeout. He'll go to the sideline and set strategy for this 4th down play. Chandler and Atlanta, they have not won here, have the Falcons, since 1991. They lead in the 2nd quarter. San Francisco defensive tackles Bryant Young, Dana Stubblefield digging in. 4th and 1 for Atlanta.
Atlanta counters on their part. They come with regular people. That means they have 2 wide receivers in the game.
You hear that roar shot. Jamal Anderson alone setback. Needs a yard. His 14th carry. He gets outside for the first down. Bowling his way to the 24-yard line. He has been the workhorse in this first half as Jamal Anderson for the Atlanta Falcons. He gains 13 yards. Atlanta holds onto the football.
Normally you like to throw that toss into the slot. They go to the toss away from the slot. Jamal Anderson never has been a fan of running east-west, comes downhill running north-south and lowers that shoulder, gets the first down.
So much made of Garrison Hurst comeback. And Jamal Anderson with Atlanta can control the tempo of games on the road. See the results. Get the scoreboard. Play action to him. Now Chandler will have to take off. Running room in front of him. The 15-yard line down to the 10 and belted out of bounds by the linebacker in Ulbrich. Along with Engelberger. Hey, wheels for a 35, 36-year-old guy.
Yeah. If you want to call those wheels, but what you're going to see here, what makes this play happen is the fact that the receivers, there's no way to go with the football. Everybody's covered. You got man on man all around the field. There's no one open Chandler has to tuck the ball down. People say, well, why didn't he slide? Well, you're an old guy like Chandler. It's hard to slide. You can hurt yourself sliding just as much as you can getting hit. So he's just trying to find a way to get out of bounds.
First and goal once again. A scramble by Chris Chandler. In motion, Mathis. Chandler bootlegs, takes off. Chandler at the 5, sliding.
You talk about the young legs. You talk about the effect like a Michael Vick could have on a Chris Chandler. No one would have thought that he would be teaching Chris Chandler how to run a football. Believe me, this is not something they really want to see out of Chris Chandler. But knowing you're seeing a savvy quarterback here, knowing when he has something, what's there, you know, actually it's a very good move here, eluding Engelberger and getting up the field with the ball and then getting down. But you're never going to confuse him for Michael Vick. Never at all.
The 10th play. This time-consuming drive coming. 9 so far. On second and goal. To about the 2-yard line. For Jamal Anderson. He may have 20 carries in this first half, running here behind Bob Whitfield, a 10-year veteran on the left side.
And Jamal Anderson is having some success, but it still, to me, as I'm looking at him, still doesn't have the spark, doesn't have the burst that he had back in 1998. And everyone knows it takes about 2 years to come back from the knee injury. And once again, it's the first game of the season. He's still feeling his way around. But Jamal Anderson, make no doubt about it, is one of the most special running backs in the NFL.
Third and goal. Anderson behind Chandler going in. Chris taken down at the 10-yard line by Brian Young.
And just when you need him, just when you need a big play, one of your big play guys comes up with one. That's what Brian Young just did.
His second sack of the first half. He blew through the rookie and Keenan Forney for this sack.
You're going to see Brian Young here coming right up, and he's just going to come off the ball. And he just beats him. That's all that happens. You can sit there and try and analyze, and I could come up with a whole bunch of stories in terms of how he did it, but that's just a bad play by the rookie trying to block an all-pro in Brian Young.
O.J. Feely, his first game in the league.
That's one of those intimidation blocks.
Play clock down to 2. 1. They look like they got it off or not. The kick is ruled good from 28 yards away. And it's Atlanta by a touchdown on the road. Long march by Jamal Anderson and Atlanta. A dozen plays resulting in the field goal. They control the clock, keeping the football away from San Francisco. And Jamal Anderson in the first half already shot with 15 carries.
Yeah, if you're Dan Reeves, you're pleased in terms of what they're getting done right now. You want to control the offense and keep that potent. Want to control the ball, I should say, and keep that potent San Francisco offense off the field.
Sutherland, our second flag in, as he falls forward to the 25-yard line. We've only seen one penalty flag today, and that was for a pass interference call earlier in the first quarter that set Atlanta up first and goal. And it's holding. Our referee, and Riley Johnson.
Bearing the run back, holding number 59 with a takedown. 10 yards from the end of the run. First down.
Shane Elam with that takedown. That's a real hold.
That was pretty explicit.
Yeah.
The ref said they were going to be more friendly towards the fans, so I guess he's really giving us exactly what happened out on the field.
Just our second penalty marker today, and the word, the buzz, as you know, was that the officials were not throwing a great many flags.
Well, less officiating is better officiating as far as I'm concerned.
Harrison Hurst, nowhere to run. And Atlanta swarms him down, and there is another flag.
Look what you started, Paul.
Now, there's back-to-back play. So much for less is more, the philosophy of Sean Jones. And the face mask call against the Falcons. That will be the very first penalty of the game on Atlanta.
Number 94, 5-yard face mask foul. We'll tack on 5 yards to the end of the run. Still first down.
Linebacker Andre Crockett saying, who, me? Those hands let him get away to Denver and then re-signed him, brought him back. Denver Broncos, part of the season.
What happens here, when you get a guy running into the line and keeping his feet moving, and you're just trying to get him down. And you see the grab there on the face mask, and it was inadvertent, but nonetheless a foul.
5-yard variety sets up shop at the 21-yard line for Garcia, who's been on the sideline a while. Here able to connect to J.J. Stokes. The ball came out, down on contact, ruled a catch upfield. The 32. Buchanan and Brooking on that tackle. We have less than 4 minutes to go, just over 3 minutes remaining in our first half. And a catch by J.J. Stokes.
Yeah, clearly the ball was already down by contact. No punt.
That's his first of the game. Now running room for Garrison Hurst. Oh, we have a moment. You want more of the same great attitude you get from Fox Sports? Then log on to the new foxsports.com. Get local information on your favorite team and the best fantasy football on the web. Log on now to foxsports.com. You search the web shop.
Yeah, all the time.
Check that out.
I've got a board.
Yeah. Even Jimmy. Kimmel is in there. Terrell Owens in motion on second down. Now here comes Hurst. Does he have the speed to get outside? Oh, Brooking caught him. And he does pick up the first down.
Keith Brookins is doing a nice job, though, running from sideline to sideline. And it just have to be a little bit stronger force on the outside to turn that play back to him so he can make that play for a tackle for a loss instead of for a tackle downfield.
We've arrived at our 2-minute warning on this stop by Brooking, but not before. Garrison Hurst with the burst has the first down. Coming off the 2-minute warning, Atlanta by a touchdown. Here in the first half, and the potent offense of the San Francisco 49ers that had all that great success toward the end of the year a season ago has been held in check, due in large measure not only to the Atlanta defense but to its offense and its ball control game plan today, Sean.
Yeah, ball control, but nonetheless, they've got to get a little bit more firepower onto this offense. We know they had the success last year, but this year they came into it, they wanted to be more balanced, and they just haven't gotten off yet. 3 points on the board with not a great Atlanta defense. You can't be happy right now.
Garcia with 3 timeouts remaining, and the end around. Here comes Owens. Block out in front of him. Ray Brown is out there leading the way. Support came up from the corner, and Ray Buchanan, after Chris Draft, the linebacker, bent the play back in. Gain of 3. It's Buchanan, and this is 9th season.
You're going to see Ray Brown come around on the O play here and just lead up there. But what's important here is Ray Brown does a good job of getting out in front and trying to make something out of this play. Guy, as old as he is, trying to still get downfield, making a block. Terrell Owens just doesn't have enough time to turn it up quicker.
Second down, and downfield to Owens to the 42-yard line. In front of Brooking, they got the mismatch. They get 10 and the timeout. With 1:14 remaining in the first half. First timeout taken by San Francisco.
Timeout. San Francisco, that's their first charge timeout.
Terrell Owens
Timeout.
with his 3rd catch. Now Garcia over to talk to Steve Mariucci.
I really believe this is where San Francisco is the most dangerous, when they're in a 2-minute offense, or in many cases what Mariucci likes to call his 4-minute offense, because they actually will start outside of 2 minutes. What makes him so dangerous? Well, Garcia, we know he likes to move around in the pocket, and it's like playing street ball as far as he's concerned. Used to the big field or the wide field up in Canada, he's at his best when he's able to move around, find receivers, and hopefully the defense breaks down.
I'm there with Tim Rattay over for Rick Myers, the backup quarterback. Coming up, of course, the Visa Halftime Show. JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have the scores and highlights from this busy day, kickoff weekend. Plus our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. All coming up on the Visa Halftime Show. Garcia with 12 completions for over 100 yards. The first half, 3-receiver package, 5 defensive backs, and Jeff takes off. Ducks his head at the 37-yard line. He nets 5, and the clock ticks, nearing a minute. He wants to get the 49ers back on the football and run another play before calling a timeout. He has 2 remaining. Taking a lot of time here. Flat again to the tight end, fighting to get to the sideline, and Eric Johnson, and he did not get out of bounds. Johnson did not get out of bounds on the stop by Chris Drab.
Timeout, San Francisco.
And with 38 seconds to go,
timeout.
San Francisco will call timeout. That'll leave him with 1.
Now Atlanta's doing something a little bit different, because any fan at home will always watch a 2-minute situation and say, why are they in prevent? Well, Atlanta's not in prevent here. You see the difference. You make them earn it. They've got a nickel and dime. You go down the field instead of taking a bomb up the field. That's what San Francisco is committed to in this situation. And playing against, and Atlanta playing against San Francisco's offense has committed to making sure that San Francisco earns everything they get. That means they're going to have to get just 5 yards at a time, and we're not going to give them the sideline so they can get out of bounds. That's why they had to take that timeout just a while ago.
Offensive coordinator Chris Knapp talking to his quarterback, Jeff Garcia. Chris Drab, an economics degree, by the way, from Stanford. Pretty smart football player.
I guess that'll help you.
Third down. San Francisco's been able to convert twice. Get it within the field goal range of Jose Cortez, who's kicked 1 today. 39 yards. Garcia throws, nearly intercepted at the 31-yard line by Marty Carter. Carter broke on the ball and on his knees nearly had the pick. Didn't have an interception all last year. Would have had his first of this season on opening day.
And you see who met at the quarterback. There was Brady Smith and Patrick Kernan meeting in the quarterback. If you can get that kind of pressure out of your front four, we talked about San Francisco wanting to get pressure out of their front four. You open up so many possibilities when you can get pressure out of your front four. You see Brady Smith coming here on D's, just does a very good move, and then the hit from the backside. If you can get that kind of pressure in the quarterback from your front four, then you can just do anything behind it.
On 4th down, needing 4. Backside pressure and flags first. And the play is whistled down. A flurry of flags late in this first half.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 65, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
He'll be kicking himself. Will Ray Brown. I'd like him to move.
And to see the movement here by Ray Brown, the veteran. Yeah, he did jerk there on that play. One thing about San Francisco for today's game, they only dress 7 offensive linemen. Normally that's unheard of, because if anybody goes down the line, it puts them in a real pickle in terms of who comes in as a backup.
4th down, needing 7. Garcia hit as he releases it, gets it off to Hurst, and Hurst is upended, but is very close to pin it on the spot, picking up the first down. Maybe a yard shy. At about 6.5, Ray Buchanan came up to make that tough tackle on Hurst. Quarterback pressure 2 from Shane Ronette.
Ball goes over to Atlanta.
And Atlanta will take over on down.
Yeah, you're going to see the pressure right here on Garcia. And these guys, we've been saying that this entire drive, they've been doing a very good job of getting pressure on Garcia. Hurst now gets the ball in his hands, but just doesn't have enough to make it the first down. Ray Buchanan, one of the best tacklers in the league. Make sure he's hit, make sure he goes down right there without getting the first down.
Great job by Atlanta's defense today. The veteran in Buchanan, his flamboyance, the stop, and now with 26 seconds remaining, Chandler off to Anderson, up to the 40-41 yard line. Atlanta has a couple of timeouts. 18, 17, 16 seconds remaining. Clock continues to tick. They take a shot here. It's been an excellent first half for the Falcons, as good as they could have hoped for. Chandler to the far sideline with the flag thrown, and out of bounds on the far side of the field for the Falcons. Sean Jefferson, the Chandler pass.
We're going to have a holding call here.
That comes with time having expired. That's against Atlanta. And San Francisco pretty much will say, let's get to the dressing room here.
Holding on the offense, number 66. Penalties decline. That's the end of the first half.
So Atlanta, which has not won in San Francisco in a decade, has a touchdown and a field goal. Stellar defensive play and leads 10-3. And Fox NFL Sunday will continue with JB and Terry and the Visa halftime report after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Set for our second half. From San Francisco, Atlanta leading 10-3. Short while ago, Tim Ryan caught up with Dan Reeves.
Thanks, Paul. Coach Reeves, defense doing a good job holding San Francisco in check. Questions and concerns on the first half?
Well, bad field position early, and I thought, we overcame that. But we just got to keep playing. We never have won out here in about 9 years. We just got to, win, come out with more points than they do.
Thanks, Coach. Guys?
Welcome back upstairs with Sean Jones. I'm Paul Kennedy. The coach knows how long it's been.
You're not getting much out of him.
Atlanta. Well, he played it close to the vest today. It's been the ground game that's been most impressive. Jamal Anderson, a halfway to 100 in the first half, has run the ball very well.
What's scary about Jamal Anderson so far, you see him toting the ball down the sideline here. He still doesn't look like he's 100% to me, but having a lot of success so far.
The only touchdown of the first half from a yard out here.
Well, this is what they want to do. Ball control offense, set up their play action pass. If you're looking at what they want to achieve so far in the first half, they've done it.
Yeah, and his numbers today, he's carried the ball close to 15 times and gained nearly 60 yards. And Jamal Anderson, there you go, 16 carries in all. Now, his quarterback has really been the star. You talk about scampering, a couple of scrambles out of Chris Chandler today, and through the air, Sean, a perfect 5 of 5.
Well, you talked about it, actually. You talk about a rejuvenated Chris Chandler. You see the numbers here on his passing, but shocking is their running. Like you said, maybe Michael Vick is rubbing off on them a little bit. A 12-yard run, another 5-yard run to keep drives going. The guy can keep the chains moving, but no one thought he was going to do it with his feet.
Steve Mariucci, with only one field goal in the first half, has to be concerned, and once again, here's Tim with him.
Thanks, guys. Steve, tough first half, real tight out there. How do you figure out a way to get your offensive team in the end zone?
Well, we've got to run the football better. We have been unable to run or not willing to run enough. And even though we're behind right now, we've got to be able to do that.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck. Upstairs, guys.
Certainly, they have struggled on the ground in this first half. Garrison Hurst in his comeback, a roar for him when introduced today, but he has struggled. You see more of Kevin Barlow.
But what Steve said there, what was missing in the comment that he made there, was the fact that he said not running the ball or not committing to the run, really. And that's what the problem is. Only 11 attempts so far in rushing the football. You're not a rushing football team in the first half if you only try to run the ball 11 times. They've got to stay committed to it, and that means they're going to have to run sometimes when they don't want to run the football if they want to be committed to the run.
Cortez kicks this, rather short, taken by an up man. Kozlowski at the 28-yard line, and tied in up to the 28. A 7-yard return. Ryder knows how to handle a football, and Kozlowski. A look at the first half numbers, and again, only 30 rushing yards for San Francisco.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. You have to be more committed to the running game in order to get those numbers up. And you would think that you want to be the team that's on the receiving end of someone trying to keep the ball away from you. Well, now they're in a position where they have to try to keep the ball away from Atlanta's offense, because they're just grounding the ball out and making things happen when they have the opportunity.
He's been a grinder throughout his career, Chris Chandler. His first snap of the second half. Crumpler in motion. They begin the second half as they started it. Handing to Anderson, and he runs into the middle linebacker, Derek Smith. Derek Smith will rise for his first game in San Francisco. Played for the Washington Redskins the last 4 seasons, and now mans the middle. He's another mobile guy inside. Strong presence. Julian Peterson, and I don't know that we've mentioned it today, inactive, injured, number 98. So Terry Killen starts for him at linebacking core. 2 tight ends on second down. Comes Crumpler, the rookie. Chandler on the slant, broken up, very nearly intercepted. Ahmad Plummer, the corner, got his hand in there to bat the ball down. It's third down.
Ahmad Plummer, we mentioned him earlier in the opening, that he has to play better after having one season under his belt, doing a good job here of breaking on the ball, making a play on the ball, getting the ball up in the air, and then they yell, Oski, Oski, Oski. That means the ball's in the air. Someone's got to make a play on the ball, almost coming up with a pick there.
He forces the first incomplete pass of this game by Chris Chandler. Now 6 defensive backs. Plummer's one of them. Chris from his 31. Blitz came a little premature, and the flags are down. And that should cost San Francisco 5 yards. And Derek Smith, too aggressive, across the line of scrimmage, part of the snap.
Little aggressive on the play, but what you'll see is that Chris Chandler, and we'll talk about it right after this call here.
Offsides on the defense, number 50. He violated the neutral zone and touched an offensive player. Still third down, 5-yard penalty.
As we're saying, Chris Chandler here now, when he sees the blitz going, he's going to hold his count a little bit longer. Hold on, makes the defensive player a little bit more antsy, and before you know it, they jump off sides. We have as a defensive player, you have a little problem holding your water a little bit.
There's that hard count. Change the cadence. Very crafty for 14 years. Now Mathis, the second Falcon in motion. Chandler throws his way, caught for a first down in traffic, upfield to the 45-yard line. Tough catch by Terrence Mathis. They gain 9 and the first down.
Chris Chandler does a nice job there, just putting the right touch on the ball, making sure his receiver comes open, and then you see the touch pass there, getting the ball there right between the two defenders. And what is really nerve-wracking here, if you're a 49er fan or if you're on the 49er side of the ball, is the fact that every time you seem like you make a play, San Francisco comes back with another play to knock you out.
Mathis, second leading receiver a year ago. Catch there in the gain of 13. Almost his second grab of this game. Back the other way to Tony Martin. He holds on to it in front of Zach Bronson. Martin solid there, picking up 10. His second grab of the game.
Martin comes into camp backing up Sean Jefferson and works real hard, and next thing you know, he's their go-to guy. And if you look at the game plan in terms of how much they're trying to get him the ball, he hasn't missed the beat since the last time, his last stint here in Atlanta.
Tony Martin still has the speed. First went to San Diego, played in a Super Bowl, then won a couple of years ago with these Falcons. San Francisco 44. Toss sweep. Anderson should get to the corner. No, tough play made. Terry Killens, the linebacker, up to stop him. He was way by the Tennessee Titans prior to the year. Steve Mariucci says he's good enough at this point to start for us, the veteran out of Penn State.
He said that kind of grudgingly. Say, hey, they get way by the Titans. But, you know, they're good enough to play for our football team because that's how thin they are. And they're really concerned, like the play we just saw a while ago, how they will hold up on the corners because they're really not that big as a defensive football team. But if you're active, it can overcome some of those things.
Just the third start of his career. Primarily a special teams player through 5 seasons with Houston and later in Nashville. Mathis comes this way, spread the field for Chandler. Goes back over the middle, high for Mathis. They worked that from the other side earlier in this possession. They can't connect this time. The second incompletion for Chris.
Chandler just going to go back, and you're absolutely right, Paul, making the same play and just basically using some of San Francisco's medicine against Atlanta, because what San Francisco will do is give you a bunch of different formations or run the same play. Atlanta comes back that time, same play, but just brings it from the other side.
6 defensive backs in. Chandler sets the pass protection. He needs 8. Heat coming. Blitz on. Chandler unloads down the sideline off the fingertips of Sean Jefferson inside the 10-yard line. There's penalty markers laying back along the line of scrimmage, but Chandler put it right on his hands. 40 yards downfield. Personal foul against Atlanta. Our referee in Riley Johnson. Umpire there, John Pemberton. Again, replacement officials working today. Mike Pereira, the director of officiating for the NFL, is here in attendance and
Personal
down on the
foul.
sideline.
Blow to the head. Number 70 on the offense. Penalties refused. 4th down.
Bob Whitfield committed that infraction, which the 49ers declined.
Now you're going to see Whitfield right here. Now Whitfield's a KG veteran going against Andre Carter. Carter's a very heralded player coming out. You see he gets a hand right here. Every time you see that, they're going to call that. And Whitfield's an old KG veteran. He will try to do anything he possibly can to embarrass a rookie.
Chris Moore in his 13th season hangs this very, very high for Benny Sutherland. And it will be down while it takes a 49er bounce. It started inside the 10. Ends up being down by the Falcons. Artie Ulmer out at the 16. Third quarter, Atlanta still lead. A gorgeous Sunday afternoon in San Francisco where Atlanta leads the homestanding 49ers by a touchdown in the third quarter. Garcia hands to Garrison Hurst. Referee throws a penalty marker. Hurst rambles out to the 30-yard line. Conroy Crockett on this stop of Hurst. Well, Steve Mariucci said he needed to get the ground game going, but a false start here will bring it back.
Yeah, illegal procedure. You're going to see one guy was moving, and all of a sudden Hurst seemed like he just fell out of his stance.
This will be the 5th penalty on opening day against San Francisco. Atlanta, of course, will take this penalty. The gain was close to 15 yards.
Illegal motion. Number 20 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay 1st down.
Garrison jumped the snap count.
You see Hurst here, motion coming up to set up the lead, and then he just takes a step out of his stance.
Yeah, was not set at the snap of the football. Garcia swings it to him, almost a lateral at the 10-yard line. And he's out up to the 15. And wrapped up. Taken down by Brady Smith in there. Conroy Crockett, 2. In the middle today, Keith Brooking. Important for this is the first game in close to 15 years that Jesse Tuggle is not manning the middle.
And Keith Brookins brings a little bit different game than Tuggle brought down. Tuggle was a warrior here and there, call him the hammer. Now Brookins is going to give you that sideline to sideline type play, and the move seems to be going that way a little bit.
Some room to run for Garrison Hurst on a pickup of 8, his longest run. So waived at the end of his 14th season, just prior to the start of this, what would be his 15th. Jesse Tuggle in the middle. 5-time Pro Bowler, wore number 58. Close to 200 games that he started for this franchise. And respected as few Falcons have ever been throughout the league. And here is the man who replaces him out of Georgia Tech, the 4th-year pro in Brooking. Blitz coming for Atlanta, and Hurst right into it. Atlanta guessed right on 3rd down defensively. Another stop for the Falcons. And there are boos rather than cheers for Garrison Hurst and San Francisco at the moment.
And they had nowhere to go on that play. It was a nice run blitz put together by Don Blackman, the defensive coordinator for Atlanta, trying to sift it out. You talk about that chess match and just getting in there before San Francisco knew what was coming. You see Brookins creeping up and then causing the confusion, and then the play comes from the sideline, boom, knocking it out.
Have to reset the play clock here. The referee steps in. Game officiated without controversy except early on a pass interference call that went in Atlanta's favor, set up the Falcons a 30-yard call for their only touchdown. The punter, Jason Baker, out of Iowa, his first NFL game. Into that win, Darian Gordon, former Pro Bowler, made 2 miss, 3 miss, 4 miss, still on his feet. And dragging San Francisco's Terry Jackson up to the 44. That is a 9-yard return and hard work by Darian Gordon. Doesn't go down on the first lick, does it? A pause in the action in the 3rd quarter. Atlanta 10-3. Here's a man having a terrific day in Chris Chandler, and now he gives way for a 2nd time to Michael Vick. See Chandler's numbers. He's also scrambled twice. Got Atlanta into the end zone. The only touchdown. Here's Vick for a second time this afternoon to Jamal Anderson. Anderson fights for it across midfield and into 49er territory. So Michael Vick played in the first quarter, Sean, a half dozen plays. Was 0 for 2 through the air. Was able to move him 15 yards.
And it seems like this is something that they've planned, not to just throw him out there at any point, but to make sure that he gets in there early enough that he doesn't get bored and he stays a part of the game. And they're giving him things that he can be successful at. You know, he threw the 2 passes that went awry, but still, this giving him running plays so he can build up his confidence a little bit.
Anderson to the left side with a hole to the 40-yard line and down to the 35. Great push up front. Linebacker Jeff Ulbrich on that stop. A gain of 12 more for Jamal Anderson.
And this is what we were talking about when we said we wanted to see if the guys would hold up at the corner. This is the corner right here. They held up at the corner, but Anderson's able to take it back up inside, and that means you're not getting enough push up front by your offense, by your defensive lineman. You have to create another line of scrimmage on the other side of the ball. If you don't do that, running lanes like that will be there.
So Jamal Anderson, who has 3 100-yard rushing days in his career against San Francisco, en route to his 4th. Hemmed in this time, nowhere to go. He'll lose yardage back at the 39-yard line. Very well done by Chike O'Keefer in that front.
This puts him in a looks like a passing situation, so we may see Vick throw the ball. You're going to see O'Keefer at the top of the screen here. He's going to come underneath, run down the line of scrimmage, and now we're talking about getting upfield and creating a new line of scrimmage. That's what they didn't do on the play before. They did it on that play. They had success.
And now Vick out of the gun, and Maurice Smith joins him, number 43, to the left of your screen. On second down, leading 13.
That's planned.
Here he comes. Stiff arm and yanked down at the 32-yard line by Jason Webster after he gained 6. In this league, it's one of the unwritten rules. You don't put your quarterback in harm's way.
Yeah, but that's a planned play. What you can see right here, his heels, you can see his feet there. They're at 4 yards. Normally, if you're going to be in a shotgun, you'll be at 6, 5 yards. They want to get him a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. That draw was a planned play. It wasn't something that it broke down. He went to run the ball. That was a planned play.
The 49ers this week were working on defending the option. The dive, the pitch, the quarterback. Scouting for Vick. Third down now. From the shotgun. Pressure coming. He takes off. Jets for the first down. Still on his feet at the 20.
Touchdown.
Outside with the block. Vick out of bounds. First and goal, Atlanta.
And now you know what all the excitement is about. This guy can make something out of nothing. And on that play, there was nothing there. Absolutely nothing there. Tucks the ball, gets the ball downfield. And you can't underestimate what this does to a defense that has to prepare for a guy that can not only throw the ball, but can also move the chains with his feet.
25 yards on this scramble. The longest by a quarterback all last year for Atlanta was 16. So already, Vick is making progress.
Yeah, I'd be a little excited there. I thought it was in the end zone.
First and goal. Vick did his first touchdown. Inside Jamal, bounces off the first hit, spins. Again, a wall there. Ulbrich is having a terrific game defensively for the 49ers.
You know, Reeves is taking an interesting approach with his young quarterback. Normally when you have a young quarterback, some of the philosophy is that, you know, let's make it a half field. We're going to make it a half field so he doesn't have to do a lot of reading. Well, the coach says, listen, this kid doesn't have a problem with reading anything. He just goes through his reads entirely too quickly. We want him to slow down his reads. He sees the field just as well as any young quarterback I've been around. So they've basically thrown the playbook at him.
Well, and today working with just a fraction of that playbook. Down to about 12 plays for Michael Vick. Second and goal. Vick on the toss to Anderson. No, he fakes, throws, incomplete, skips it up. Good ball fake. And then he guns short for Tony Martin. Right at his feet. And it's third down.
So good ball fake by Vic here, taking good control of the ball. And what I like, it wasn't a successful play there, but what I like about that ball is he threw that ball where if his receiver didn't catch the ball, it wasn't going to be a pick and turn a bad play into even a worse play, ball going the other way for a touchdown.
He's yet to complete a pass, but he's certainly dangerous with the ball in his hands. On that 25-yard scamper, it's 3rd and goal. Vic with the flag down, throws incomplete. Looking for Mathis, broken up by Lance Schulters, the strong safety. The flag thrown along the line of scrimmage. And holding is the call against Atlanta. You would believe the 49ers would decline and force the field goal try. Schulters there defensively, and that was a rope on the part of Vic.
Holding on the offense, number 70. Penalties refused. 4th down.
Tough day for Bob Whitfield. Veteran on the left side. Tackle.
Talked about Whitfield earlier, and this kid Carter is a real special kid that he's playing against. It's a good challenge for a young player to play against a good cagey veteran like Whitfield.
Jay Feely in his NFL debut has already kicked a 28-yard field goal and an extra point. This from 24. And the veteran punter Chris Moore will set it down for him. Make it a 13-3 game.
Let's go.
And Feely has his 2nd field goal. They salvage 3 out of the drive. The star power of Michael Vick on display.
High scramble.
Michael Vick engineering his first scoring drive that results in the Jay Feely field goal of 24 yards. He takes him 9 plays down the field. Rambles for 25 himself on a scramble. And here's Vinny Sutherland for the 49ers. Met solidly and driven back by Mark Semino on special teams coverage. We're in the 3rd quarter, and Atlanta looking for an opening day win on the road. Picturesque San Francisco. Not so picturesque on the scoreboard. Garrison Hurst in the grand game has been throttled today. They've gained less than 40 yards. Garrison 27 in all. How much does this team miss the departed Charlie Gardner, who leaves for Oakland across the bay?
Well, between Garner, the kicker that they're missing from last year, and Jerry Rice, I mean, they're missing over 40% of their offense from last year in terms of production. So, of course, they miss Charlie Garner. But
J.J. Stokes here has but 1 reception today. That was incomplete at 2nd down. Ty Street's just a couple of catches. So the offense is not sharp, in sync the outset of the year.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we mentioned in the open, that J.J. Stokes had to become a bigger part of this offense. We know how comfortable they are with Terrell Owens, but if you don't step up and have that number 2 guy, it's going to be impossible.
Owens in motion. 2nd man through. Barlow. Wrapped up by Patrick Kearney. Kearney drops him. It's 3rd down. Back to anchor on the left side. Patrick Kearney. Kearney, Hall, Dronette, Brady Smith. I think an underrated front. What were you saying that they call them? The Backstreet Boys? Their teammates do.
The Backstreet Boys.
Pretty faces, huh?
Pretty faces, great footwork, I guess.
Who knows? Here, there you see Chuck Wiley's checked in.
One of them dates Britney Spears. I don't know.
All right. 3rd down. San Francisco looking to get it going. Garcia unloads under pressure, throwing deep for Owens, who cannot make the catch with Ray Buchanan on his hip. 3 catches, and that's it today for Terrell Owens.
That's a heck of a play by Buchanan, all-pro against all-pro. And he says when he plays against a guy like Terrell Owens, he's going to play more of a finesse game because he knows how tough and how powerful Terrell Owens can be. But you see it right here at the end. He gets that hand in there to get the ball out, and no contact at all going downfield, none whatsoever. A veteran play by Buchanan, just getting his hand there at the very end, getting the ball out.
Pro Bowl corner, breaks it up. The punt here by Jason Baker. On the wind, catches it. And it bounces back to the San Francisco side of the field and will be down at the 49er 49-yard line. Just an 18-yard punt. only touchdown this afternoon belongs to that man, Atlanta's Jamal Anderson, in this 13-3 game. He owns a lion's share of the rushing yards, but Chris Chandler, too, has had his moments scrambling, as has Michael Vick. Has over 30 yards running about. Chandler has been impressive. Terrence Mathis starts in motion. Chandler wants to throw on first down. Into the flat, and he overshoots Reggie Kelly, who was open, as the linebacker Jeff Ulbrich turned his back. Can't come into the stadium. You see Chris Chandler wearing number 12 without thinking of his father-in-law, John Brody, who wore that number. The great quarterbacks in the history of this franchise. 17 years. Quarterback of the 49ers. Terrific teams in the 70s. He to Gene Washington. A great combination.
We continue to wish him a speedy recovery.
Christian shifts, the lead blocker for Anderson, who can only use him for about a yard. Go back about 30 years ago. In fact, the first season for the 49ers in this stadium was 1971, and John Brody was on top of his game. Quarterback from 57 to 73. They had an artificial surface here, and the director of football operations in the league, number 18, that is Gene Washington. Receiving end of these passes, played for the NFC Championship, the right to go to the Super Bowl, back-to-back years, 70 and 71. We wish, yes, you're right, Sean. John Brody well. Third down here for his son-in-law. Pressure coming. He's scrambling again. A flag in behind, though. We may have holding. A late flag from the umpire. And Chandler spikes the ball. He had gotten all the way down to the 49er 31-yard line.
Yeah, I don't know which holding they caught, but
you said they had options.
Yeah, well, Andre Carter came around, and that was holding, and it seemed like there was holding on number 50, Smith. So let's see which one they can end up catching.
Bob Whitfield has had 2 flags on him today.
Holding on the offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay third down.
That's the rookie Keenan Forney.
Yeah, like I said, it could have been dealer's choice. Take your pick. You're going to see Forney. Forney going to be right here. Okay, Forney's here, and you're going to see the move by the linebacker, not by the defensive line. He comes off, tries to get back, and doesn't get back in time. Then he has to hold. It's a takedown, but you're going to see right back here with Whitfield getting a hand on Carter's face also. And the result at the end of the play, nullified, it's got to come back.
Less than 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Anderson just now arriving. He gets set. Chandler guns to Mathis, spinning. Rather, that's Tony Martin. Upfield at the 47, way shy, about 15 yards shy of the first down. Derek Smith, the linebacker, in coverage, and the punting unit's on. Well, Smith, impressive today on the Washington Redskin. There's Chris Moore. He holds just about every Buffalo Bill punting record. Played in 3 Super Bowls for Marv Levy's team. That's Finney Sutherland. And a high kick. Fair catch called for and made at the 12-yard line. You are a 49er fan, more likely than not. You're also a San Francisco Giants fan, and he hit 2 today with number 25. 61 and 62 this week on Fox Saturday Baseball. Derek Jeter and the Yankees look to move 1 step closer to their 4th straight AL East title when they take on Greg Vaughn and the Devil Rays. Or Bonds chases history while the Giants and the Dodgers battle it out in the NL West. It all begins this week. Baseball this Saturday, 12:30 Eastern and Pacific. 2 today. Passes Maris. And Coors hit one 500 feet. Garcia sets up the screen. Harrison Hurst gets away. Really swarmed under back there. How did he? Anyway, Vaughn drug him down.
But you know, as I'm looking at San Francisco, this team just doesn't seem to be in sync. Now, we talked about the defense and how they might not be in sync, but I'm really shocked about the offense. They don't seem like they've picked up. In fact, they haven't picked up where they left off last season when they were so potent and so prolific.
Jeremy Newberry, the center, over the football. Harrison Hurst Hit in the backfield. Spins back to the line of scrimmage. And it's third down.
They're having a tough time with Atlanta's defensive line because what they're expecting is the same defensive line from the year before, where they just sat there and got reached on blocking plays. Well, this year they've made a concerted effort to just get off the ball. You know, we'll just play everything on the move instead of being sitting ducks for this San Francisco offensive line. It seems like it's paying off so far.
Half a minute remaining in the third quarter. Owens in motion. Garcia guns for him, and he makes the catch in traffic. That should be enough for the first down. What a catch for him in front of Marty Carter. Draped all over him. Terrell Owens with a huge catch at the end of the third quarter. Maybe not so much in yardage. They do pick up the first down, but a shot of confidence. Atlanta leads 13-3. Fox NFL Sunday continues with our fourth quarter after a word from your local Fox station. Kickoff weekend of the NFL on Fox. From San Francisco with Sean Jones, Paul Kennedy. Welcome to the second half of our doubleheader. The fourth quarter unfolds, and it's Atlanta on the road on opening day, leading by a touchdown and a field goal. Garcia finds Owens. He was about the third read for Jeff in that pattern. This will be for Atlanta its last trip in here as a member of the NFC West. A realignment in the National Football League to take place next year with the addition of Houston, one more team, and San Francisco remains there. Atlanta is now in the South.
It kind of makes for like a Brady Bunch thing with people all over the place, but I think it's going to be a lot more competitive when you have four teams that you're going to face and you're going to see more rivalries. I think they're doing a good job with the realignment.
Seattle comes here with Mike Holmgren next year. Inside, Hurst churning for the first down. Good hard running between the tackles. Garrison Hurst, Brady Smith right in among a number of Falcons to hit him. That ground game has got to get going to open up the passing lanes for Garcia.
And not much in terms of yardage in that play, but the first time I've seen that where they've just sustained blocks and stayed on the blocks the entire time.
Sueda checks in defensively on the front for Atlanta. Garcia with the hitch to the near side and wrapped up into a good solid tackling. Derek Vaughn in the flat on J.J. Stokes. It's just the second ball for J.J.
Yeah, Vaughn is in there for Ambrose, who apparently goes into the locker room with leg cramps. But I keep saying it over and over again. J.J. Stokes is such a key part of this offense this year. He has to get off. He has to be someone that puts a fear of God into defenses. If he doesn't do that, it's going to be a long year for Terrell Owens.
And he's got size, strength, speed, but did not play in the preseason. Injured by a hamstring. Gain of 4. Garcia with the hitch. Going deep. He's got him this time. J.J. to the 20-yard line. Down to the 15, fighting to the 12. First down, San Francisco on the gain of 46.
And right on key, right on key. Just like we said, he has to be more of this offense. When they have that 1-2 punch with J.J. Stokes and Terrell Owens, this is a very difficult offense to contend against. But you're going to see the play there. It's really just a hitch and go, a double move by Stokes. Stokes takes the ball upfield, hauls the ball in, and some good running after the catch.
Yeah. A 46-yard gain, the longest of the day. Garcia. Whistles again. The flag dropped along the line of scrimmage. Referee Riley Johnson. False start against San Francisco.
False start on the offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Veteran guard Dave Fiore moved before the football was snapped. Stokes reinvigorates San Francisco. They need a touchdown. They have been held without a touchdown. Can you imagine? The fourth leading offense in the entire NFL a year ago, nearly shut out on opening day. Hurst looking for a hole. Nothing doing. While we have a moment, let's go to James Brown at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles. JB?
Hey, Paul and Sean, Jeff George was pulled because of ineffectiveness. Tony Banks comes in. They stay on the ground, but Stephen Davis fumbles on 2nd and goal. However, San Diego fumbled it back. Skins finally get on board, but they're trailing by 17. Back to Paul and Sean.
All right, JB, and Marty Schottenheimer's debut as the head coach of the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, Washington just can't get it right. You know, they still don't have it not right yet.
Travis Hall, the fallen Falcon. A pause in the 4th quarter. Finally, some smiles on the faces of San Francisco fans. Travis Hall helped off under his own power. San Francisco threatening. 2nd down low. Motion swift. Garcia throws, diving, touchdown, San Francisco. J.J. Stokes. He beat Derek Vaughn in coverage. And San Francisco finally has a touchdown on opening day. Garcia threw 31 last year in that record-setting campaign. It takes him a long time, Sean, to get his first of the afternoon.
And you see the sideline. Everyone's excited for this kid. You know, coming off of injuries, very highly touted when he was drafted. And just hasn't had the snaps and hasn't had the opportunities. But we know he's got to have big plays.
Cortez rockets through the extra point. Garcia to J.J. Stokes. A field goal now separates the two following the 16-yard touchdown reception. J.J. Stokes with his first touchdown reception of the year. San Francisco pulls within a field goal. 16-yard connection. You know, he averaged 17 yards per play last year every time he touched the ball. So he has a 46-yard reception on that drive. And then the 16-yarder for the score.
Garcia said in a lot of film sessions they saw that he was open. He's looking forward to this year getting him the ball.
Cortez. For Derek Vaughn. Led the league. That bounded off his ankle. He scoops it up and stumbles to the 22. Very careful at football. Terry Jackson on special teams.
He's going to take a look at this touchdown here. Stokes is right here, but this is where the play is made right here with the offensive line, giving them the protection that it needs. Stokes is going to take it down. He's going to bend it in ever so slightly and work his way back here, and the ball is put where only he can catch the ball. No chance for it to go the other way. Touchdown, San Francisco. Back in the ballgame, Paul.
And momentum going their way, and now the Falcons on the road. A team that has but 9 wins in 32 games since the Super Bowl. Stokes is enlightening the crowd. Chandler at the helm. Anderson falls forward across the 25 to the 27-yard line. There is a knack to that for the better running backs. That when you fall in the right direction.
Yeah, you don't want any negative plays. And they've actually changed up their blocking scheme this year, Paul. They've said, you know, we're going to go more to a zone blocking, a la Denver. Denver's had so much success with so many different running backs cutting off the backside and zone blocking that now Atlanta is using the same blocking scheme.
Offensive line coach Pete Mangura in there. Chandler, everybody covered, a flag in behind him, and that is dropped by Anderson coming to the near side. And that may be holding against Atlanta. So the momentum continues to swell against the Falcons. Do you take the penalty, march them back 10, or force Atlanta to face 3rd and 5? Bryant Young says, yes, let's take it back.
Got to push him back. That's my favorite cheer. And I said, push him back, push him back.
Holding on the offense, number 66 with a tackle. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Michael Thompson, who had checked in, replacing Travis Claridge. Michael Thompson in his 2nd season out of Tennessee State playing tackle on the right side. The hold was on him. He did not start today. Well, they push him back, Sean, to the 17. Anderson this way. Quick hitch to him with a block at the 20. Up to the 25-yard line. Terrence Mathis trying to help him out here in the flat. He's able to get about 8 yards.
Yeah, that's just another way for them to get Anderson the ball. It's a running play, really. That's all they're trying to do, get him out of the backfield. It's the same as a pitch to get the ball in his hand, because what we're going to see as this game progresses, San Francisco is still playing them with 8 in the box. And when you get 8 in the box, you have to find a way to get Jamal Anderson from under the center and get him out into the perimeter.
Now you're finding a way to get 7, 8 yards and earn the first against 6 defensive backs for San Francisco. And the crowd. Chandler unloads deep, caught at midfield. First down Atlanta across midfield.
That was
the 49-yard line.
Paul, that was just a heck of a throw by Chris Chandler. Heck of a throw, heck of a catch. And like we said earlier, he said, well, why are we throwing the ball to Tony Martin? Well, it's a lot easier to throw to a guy that's wide open. And Tony Martin runs a very nice route here and sits down in the zone and is able to put the ball right where it's necessary. You're going to see Tony Martin right here in the slot where he lines up. And he's just going to take it straight down. But you're going to see right in here, he's going to sit down. The zone is right there. He doesn't run. Tony Martin runs faster than that. But he sits down and doesn't overrun the zone. A very good play by Tony Martin and the quarterback, Chris Chandler.
On first down, following the gain of 27, now Anderson back with ball control. The defensive end, John Engelberger, stands him up. This time, very strong John Engelberger. Engelberger entered a strongman competition this summer under an assumed name and won it. It was Timmy Carmichael. I don't know where he got that handle, but he benches close to 500 pounds. That was good enough in Richmond to win that strongman competition. At the 49er 46.
Well, he and Michael Vick were teammates at one time.
Yeah. At Virginia Tech. Played for the national championship. Mathis, Chandler, as if to set up the screen, now throws it away. Engelberger was right in his face. And he elected to just dump it and start fresh on the next play, perhaps not make a mistake.
You're right. And that's what you'll find out in a veteran quarterback that's savvy. Instead of making a bad play even worse, you know what, we can always line up and play another play. The worst thing he can do is just throw that ball where it's not supposed to go. Someone picks it off, and they're going in the other direction.
The crowd chanting defense. Third and 8. Chandler with all the time in the world throws deep for Mathis, and he can't make the catch inside the 5. He wants pass interference. Lance Shoulders was there.
But he won't get it. That was a great play by the defensive backs. Playing the play. They knew where that play was coming and making a great play on the ball. Chandler heaves the ball downfield, and he's throwing it right into the coverage where anybody can make a play on that ball. The defenders make a good play on that ball and knock the ball out.
Jason Webster, too. Schulters, former Pro Bowler, looking to return to form. There's the Falcons will have to punt, unable to connect. This is Moore. Try and pin San Francisco deep. That'll reach the end zone. San Francisco begins at its 20-yard line, trailing by a field goal. Plenty of time remaining. 8 minutes to go. For San Francisco, J.J. Stokes has come on in the second half, a 46-yard reception. He would later score. He is stepping forward along with Terrell Owens.
Well, they've all been so fortunate in having such great tandems. You had Rice and Taylor, and you had Rice and Terrell Owens. Now you're hoping that they're building Rice and Stokes to continue that tradition.
He's keeping that football, too. First down, 8 minutes to go, trailing by a field goal, and it's the rookie who comes out of there and takes a shot, Kevin Barlow, and it's Travis Hall back in the game for Atlanta, the defensive tackle, number 98, with a solid stop. So he shakes off the ankle problems that have bothered him throughout the preseason. No defensive lineman in the league has made more tackles than has Travis Hall over the last 5 seasons.
Look at this. I don't know how they keep stats in Atlanta. you know, Tugler has always led the league. Jesse Tugler always led the league in tackles.
Well, this among defensive line.
I don't know how they do it, though, because they just keep stats differently from any other place in the league.
Second down. Garcia throws underneath, close to the first down for Terrell Owens. He's such a big target, such a presence, and hard to miss. Darian Gordon on this down. And it is a first down.
You see Terrell Owens there in his number 6 catches, 53 yards, and talking to him before the game, he says, listen, you know, I know I've got to be a different guy than I was last year. I've got to assume more of the leadership role, not so much as a rah-rah guy, but leading by example, doing the things that basically Jerry Rice taught me in terms of being a leader on this football team.
Linebacker blitz. Garcia unloads. Incomplete. Intended for the tight end and Eric Johnson, but all 3 linebackers were bent on Jeff Garcia. Henry Crockett in the flat, but Brooking was coming along that after him.
You see the pressure coming here. Brookins gets through, creates a hole. Draft comes through, gets pressure.
It's a violent game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a contact sport, it's a collision sport. But that catch that was dropped, I mean, Johnson has to catch that ball. It's not a Yale, you know, it's not Ivy League anymore.
Jackson is the running back. Garcia throws. JJ again, another first down. Ray Buchanan beaten. They pick up 13. You know who the go-to guy is right now for San Francisco? Here in the 4th quarter, it's J.J. Stokes.
Here's J.J. Stokes here, working against Ray Buchanan. And once again, you know, it's so subtle what you just saw there. People will say, well, he just ran around. No, you're playing zone. A lot of young guys will try to run through that zone. It's so subtle when guys know that they have to sit down in the zone and wait for the football to come. J.J. Stokes says the best route runner now on this football team.
Garcia wants to keep his hot hand going. Well, it's Chandler, intercepted, picked off Shane Gronett. Gronett looks to lateral and laterals it out of play. You get a big old Texas lineman there in his 10th year in the league. He ought to know better than to try and lateral it. But he does have the interception, and the football belongs on the first turnover of the afternoon to the Falcons.
Well, they do everything big in Texas. I don't know what he's trying to pull off here, but you're going to see him right here. And normally when a guy's making a play on the line of scrimmage,
an interception, then a fumble out of bounds. The ball goes to Atlanta, first down.
What's he doing at the end of this? What are you doing?
Listen to what they say. When you see a guy stymied at the line of scrimmage, you're taught to get your hands up. Ball was tipped, you get your hands on the ball. Always hold on to it, though, Phil.
Well, one of the Backstreet Boys with a flamboyant play, the only turnover of this game. Atlanta with the ball at midfield. The lead, the ball, less than 6 minutes remaining. They haven't won here in a decade. Oh, we have a moment to James Brown in our Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
Hey, Paul and Sean, Philadelphia pulled out all stops, going for it on 3 4th downs on this drive, including this one here that had to be reviewed before finally being signaled as a touchdown. Philadelphia now trailing to 17-10. Back to Paul, and Howie says his name, Paul, is Dwight Andre Sean O'Neal Jones.
I knew you were going to get that in, JB.
Oh, JB got you there. And
thanks, Howie.
An important game here, too. We've not had a challenge today. Review call, Anderson. A gain of 2. And what's important in that St. Louis game is it impacts the NFC West, of course.
What's even more important is what they said in the locker room at halftime for San Francisco, because I'm telling you, their defense is playing much better football, holding up a lot better on the corners. With the you know they have smallest defensive linemen, but they're doing a lot better job in terms of holding up on the corners.
See the time remaining. Dana Stubblefield. Crowd to help him. Andre Carter, rookie. Third, they need at least 8.
You can see right there, they've got the 8 in the box. Count them. They're all right there in the box, playing the run.
Chandler against the 8. This will be well shy of the first down. Out of bounds with a football, Terrence Mathis after the catch.
And we pointed out the 8 in the box because that's what it does. It opens up for an offense now that exposes you in terms of what you can do in getting the pass out. So San Francisco's not careful in terms of lining so many people up close to the ball. I can guarantee you Atlanta's going to take a shot downfield.
Chandler to punt. Bowman with the play. Rather, Chris Moore now on.
talked about Chris Moore earlier. I thought he was in the witness protection plan. I didn't know he was still around.
Oh, yeah.
He played when I was playing.
Comes back home to Atlanta, perhaps to conclude his career.
He was with Tony Soprano and those guys.
Atlanta may let the play clock expire here, I would think, to try and give Chris a little more room with which to work. We'll plug in his show, especially the good ones. Chris, how much hang time beneath this for Vinny Settleman? Fair catch called for. Doesn't want to make a mistake. Makes it at the 14. The long field for San Francisco, following the punt by Chris Moore. Daniel Stubblefield, Reggie McGrew, that San Francisco defense has done its job. Now the offense with a long way to go, starting inside their own 15-yard line, trailing by a field goal. 4 minutes, 4 seconds remain.
And Paul, what you have right now, like you said, 4 minutes now. So if you're on the sideline, that's a sudden change is called. 3 and out, the defense goes, sudden change, get the ball back to your offense. Now what do you do with it? Sudden change situations, very important in terms of turning the ball game around.
Jeff Garcia goes to work. The tight end, the rookie in his first game, Eric Johnson, his third catch today. They pick up 11 yards.
And that's like a good the Eli's, right?
At Yale?
Yeah, they're Eli's, aren't they?
That is correct.
Okay, I went to Northeastern. We don't know those kind of things.
He's got size. They don't have Greg Clark today, who made all those catches a year ago. Justin Swift, Eric Johnson handling the duties.
What's the difference between an Eli and a goat? I mean, they're similar, aren't they?
On first down. Garcia again. Takes off to the 35. Across the 40. Upfield to the 43.
And this is when you're talking to Patrick Kearney about facing the San Francisco offense. This is what they were afraid of. They said, you know, Garcia doesn't look pretty. You know, he's not the biggest guy in the world. One, we know he's tough. And two, he has a knack of keeping drives going. If it's not with his arm, it's with his feet. And he does a very good job here of just taking the ball straight up the gut. Straight up the gut. No dodging, no moving around, just taking the ball straight up the gut and getting down when it's necessary.
His numbers a year ago in that record-setting year swelled in the fourth quarter. That was when he was at his best. And he's displaying it now. Everybody covered. He unloads, and it's incomplete. Maybe intercepted. No, incomplete. Terrell Owens got his hands on the ball, and then he took a wicked shot. Batted away, incomplete. But Garcia again ran out of time.
That was a strange play. I expect to see that on the National Sports Report tonight. I mean, because the way that ball popped out there, you thought that someone had a chance to make a play on the ball.
Very nearly picked off. Catch it at the end.
Garcia gets pounded at the end of this play, trying to make something happen, but doesn't feel it coming from the backside, gets the ball off.
It's Patrick Kearney there. Now second down. Split backs. Passing formation. Garcia throws. He's got Owens wide open at midfield. Owens down the sideline. Owens to the 25. Corral to the 18. 38 yards.
And you've seen Terrell Owens in so many different places today, but now he's in the slot. You're going to see him come underneath here, trying to run away from everything. He's wide open. How could you let Terrell Owens get that wide open? Why? There's a mismatch. Because they move him around so much, on that play you have a linebacker trying to cover Terrell Owens. That's a mismatch any day of the week.
The 2-minute warning as San Francisco charges down the field. Atlanta trying to hold on. San Francisco charging down the field. J.J. Stokes, another big completion. And look at this. Another home run from Barry Bonds. J.J. Stokes has hit a couple today. Barry's hit 3. Following the 2-minute warning, Garcia, when it matters most, takes off, turns the corner, out of bounds. 11-yard line. Only Brian Griese had a higher quarterback rating in the entire league a year ago in the fourth quarter than this man, Jeff Garcia.
And that's money time. You know, when you're playing against a guy, I played with a guy like Brett Favre, and that's what you loved about him. When the fourth quarter came around, he was ready to roll. Jeff Garcia, the same kind of way. Just incredible amount of confidence in what he says he wants to do with this team. He says, hey, I know I'm the leader, but I want to bring everybody in. I want to bring everyone closer. What I think we lacked at points last year was that kind of camaraderie, and I want to bring that back to the 49ers.
8 on the play of 7. And set back Beasley. Garcia gives it to him inside. Misdirection effort off the wing there. They're running back into the interior, and it went nowhere.
And that's to keep your fullback happy. I mean, it's his first carry today, and fullbacks have a way of getting a little annoyed when they don't touch the ball just a little bit. You know, they're just battering rams most of the time. So you give them a little play close to the end zone, you know, gratuitous play here and there just to keep them happy.
Now 3rd down, and we'll remind you that San Francisco has a new kicker, Jose Cortez. 1 field goal today of 39 yards. The way they're running this clock, they're in a position here that Atlanta would have very little time with which to respond. Garcia and the 49ers thinking, of course, not overtime, but punching in a winning score. They have trailed throughout this game.
Talk to Garcia and talk to him about his role in this team. He says, listen, like we said before, I didn't like what happened last year when I almost got benched. You know, lit a fire under my butt a little bit.
On the 3rd week of the season,
you know, he said, you know, I didn't think it was right. But, you know, I'm thankful for it because I'm a better player for it. I play with a chip on my shoulder. I know I come out here. I respect my coaches.
San Francisco, that's their first charge timeout. 30-second timeout.
Burns the timeout here to go over to the sideline. That's his offensive coordinator, and Greg Knapp, who is in his first season.
And he says, I respect the coaches, but you know what? I play for my guys. I play for my guys, and I play for my family. And sometimes you have to have that attitude to get things rolling in your career. It's disheartening. You figure it's the 2nd game of the season, and they're thinking about benching you. So you got to understand that this guy has a lot of mental toughness to come back now and have the kind of season he did have.
Yeah, well, even Steve Young, great Joe Montana, did not put up numbers in a single season, the likes of which Jeff Garcia was able to mount. But both Steve and number 16 in Montana, how many times did they take the 49ers down the field when, as you said, it mattered most? It was money time. Well, Garcia is doing that. Quarterbacks are measured in wins.
In the 4th quarter, exactly. Wins in the 4th quarter. They always look at, you know, how many times can you bring your team back? And how many comebacks do you have? Well, in order to be a great quarterback, you can't imagine how much it does to your football team when guys on the sideline can say, okay, we've been in this situation before. We have the confidence in the guys that are out there that can get it done. And you talk about confidence in this team, you know, with Atlanta this week, San Francisco has Atlanta this week, next week New Orleans, the Rams the following week, a bye, then the Jets, Carolina. I mean, the first part of the season is just I mean, brutal. You know, so if you're talking about a must-win game, the first game of the season, hey, fellas, this is it. This is what you tell your guys. This is it. This is a must-win game.
And for Atlanta, they have not won here. And Dan Reeves told our own Tim Ryan this during the game. They haven't won here since 1991. Chris Chandler has been brilliant today. Played very well, the West Coast native. Passing, scrambling, sharing time with Michael Vick. San Francisco.
Please reset the game clock to 1 minute 6 seconds. Thank you.
We'll have 66 seconds remaining.
We haven't had a play reviewed yet, Paul.
Been very quiet for the most part. The only major call today, the pass interference call against.
That was a jinx.
Tony Martin. That
Here it comes.
Paved the way for Atlanta's only touchdown. 3rd down. And what might well be 4-down territory. At the 10-yard line, they must reach inside the 8. The running back is Garrison Hurts. Play action to him. Garcia takes off for the end zone, dives at the 2-yard line. 1st and goal, 49ers.
Going to see a nice play by Garcia here. The defensive end actually does everything he's supposed to do in terms of keeping the play on the inside. Kearney right there trying to keep everything inside. But where's his help from the inside? There's no help from the inside. Garcia is able to turn the play up and make 1st down yardage.
Beasley and Hurst in the eye. Owens in motion. This will be Hurst. Churning, driving it. to the 2. 21 seconds remaining. Timeout, San Francisco.
Timeout, San Francisco.
Their second.
That's their second charge timeout. 30-second timeout.
One remaining. Well, you have time here for any number of plays with 21 seconds to go. One way to stop it, an incomplete pass, and the other, of course, is to burn that final timeout. Garrison Hurst in his comeback today, his first game in 2 seasons. His family flew in from Atlanta. He has, of course, attended the University of Georgia, and his mom, Mary, out there in the crowd wearing those number 20 jerseys.
And there's little baby G right there.
And his dad, Gary, talking to his grandson. Everything's going to be all right. And his mom.
Atlanta has to be careful here not to be caught in the man defense, because the way Garcia is moving the chains, it could be devastating.
Second and goal. Garcia off play action. Deep from the blind side. And he throws through the fingertips of Terrell Owens. He was wide open in the back of the end zone. And even at 6'3" with his arms outstretched, he could not get there.
Garcia makes a play here. That's what we're talking about, the good fake, and then starts to run, hoping to draw the defense now to play the run, and it actually works, but just had a little bit of use a loft wedge instead of the, the 9-iron. If he had just brought the ball down a little bit, just a little too loud, that would have been a touchdown.
And so for San Francisco, either they punch it in here or settle for the field goal, you would think, on 3rd and goal. Easily the running back. Garcia. Guns high, incomplete again. 2 receivers open. J.J. Stokes can't make this play. And it's 4th down. And here comes the kicker and Jose Cortez. And there was space between he and the defensive back, Derek Vaughn.
Yeah, from the bunch formation here, Ty Streets is going to get open because that's what the bunch does. It creates confusion. But once again,
first game in this stadium. He kicks. We are tied. For the first time since the first quarter. Well, the time set to expire. Wrestled down at the 26-yard line. 3 seconds officially remaining. Terry Jackson on the special team stop. So bound for sudden death on kickoff weekend. It doesn't get much better than that. Cortez impressive, as has been this man in Chris Chandler. Met him in the 4th quarter, though, 10 unanswered. 49ers.
Yeah, they'll kneel down on this play.
So Chandler headed towards sudden death. Will kill the clock. And now to the coin toss.
Of the 4th quarter.
To determine who will handle the ball. Dan Reeves, how he'll play this out. Against Francisco will begin at the 20. A big day in baseball as we take you to James Brown at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles, JB.
Paul and Sean, indeed, it's a final. Giants win it. They got help in the 11th when Barry Bonds smacks number 3 in the game. He's got 63 on the season. Hey, he's on pace for 71. Barry Bonds and the Giants victorious. Back to Paul Kennedy and Northeastern's finest, Sean Jones.
Off the edge. Well, certainly the finest left-handed bat in a single season in terms of power. More home runs than Roger Maris. 1 of 5. We're 60.
What he's doing is just sheer incredible.
Garcia has been incredible himself in the 4th quarter. Starts it off on the ground. To Fred Beasley on the carry and the stop. Number 56 and Big Keith Brooking.
And San Francisco did a nice thing just a while ago just to try to set up a play to see what's going on. They take Garrison Hurst, put him in the backfield, put him in motion out to see how Atlanta will respond to that. Run a play up the middle. Believe me, they'll come back to that if they got what they wanted out of that motion.
Solid pickup of 5. Play action. They set up, screen this way for Beasley. Maybe signals are crossed. J.J. Stokes was out on the flat too with the running back.
Yeah, normally you wouldn't see the fullback and your wide receiver that deep in the same area. Maybe there was a miscommunication. Someone should have run a Texas route or a shorter route, I should say, and with your wide receiver going a little bit deep. So there had to be some kind of miscommunication.
Now 3rd and 5 for Garcia. Where he was most effective as he nears 300 yards in the 4th quarter is when he took off. Scramble. Blitz coming. Throws underneath. And that is caught. Breaking free down the sideline. Gone. Tie Straits to the 22. "53 yards." The completion.
You're going to see Brookins coming here on the blitz, and the offensive line does a very good job of picking up the blitz, which leaves them enough time to get the ball off. Then it's just excellent running by Ty Street. You know, he's the number 4 in the big 4. You've got Garcia, you've got Stokes, you've got Owens, and Ty Street adds another dimension to this offensive football team.
Now you're within field goal range, too. Inside. Near the 20-yard line. So the big plays in the fourth quarter. Streets, Stokes, Owens.
And we talk about Garrison Hurst and his comeback, but this kid Streets is a great story too. Has a rod in his leg just like Bryant Young, and is able to come back and contribute, and are looking for big things from him because they believe that with those 3 guys on the field, when they want to throw the ball, it's hard to match up. It's hard enough to have 2 good corners to match up against 2 great receivers. Then you add Streets to the mix. You're just not that deep on the bench to be able to cover all those different guys.
And with an arsenal like that, Jeff Garcia, well over 300 yards passing today.
And quietly, he's put up some good numbers today.
Dan Reeves bringing the referee Riley Johnson to the Atlanta sideline. Along with the umpire, John Pemberton, that comes over there to get him. Well, they start the clock.
Well, I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I don't know what happened in that locker room at halftime, but this is not the same football team that we saw in the beginning of the game.
You know why the crowd's roaring and Garcia's trying to get him quieted down here? They've just posted on the scoreboard that Barry Bonds has hit 3 home runs. You come up and start chanting Barry. A huddle, Newberry looking around, Garcia looking around.
Nothing makes a football fan more angry than a bunch of baseball fans.
Oh. Well, they hit a number of home runs in this stadium. Our first challenge of this game.
I told you we were going to jinx him.
The league gets it right. Sitting back to the field. On the field now in sudden death in San Francisco. Garcia with 10 unanswered to rally the 49ers. Hands Garrison Hurst, who won it overtime at 98, breaks this one down to the 10. Buchanan on the stop.
And Paul, you've seen a lot of football. Do you think he wanted to score in that play?
Yeah, the legs were churning.
But like I said at halftime, Coach Mariucci said, you know, we have to commit more to the running game. And in this situation, that's what it opens up. When you commit to the running game, then you give yourself so many different options. Garrison Hurst seems to be rejuvenated in the second half, was not running with the same kind of power and vigor that he is in the second half.
Has a man ever won the Comeback Player of the Year award twice? He won it in '95. A hand inside, Beasley on first down, first and goal. Now tempers flaring. We are told as well that Philadelphia hosting St. Louis, the Rams from the NFC West, that has also entered overtime in the vet Philadelphia. We hope to get you out there immediately following this win.
We can only hope that the field holds up in Philadelphia.
Garcia here's second and goal. They give it to Hurst. Falls forward. They're going to set up the field goal. They're going to elect to take the field goal perhaps right here as he falls forward. Here comes the field goal unit. Jose Cortez on. He has kicked 2 today in his 49er debut.
So you're talking about confidence for the San Francisco football team. If they could pull this off, coming back out in the second half of this game and playing the way that they did, turning it up on defense, making the right play selections on offense, and completing and executing, this is going to be a great turnaround, something that they could probably build on.
Timeout, Atlanta.
To start playing bad, and that was the second half of this game.
This from 24 yards out for Cortez. And a sudden death victory for the San Francisco 49ers on opening day. They've come back to win. Kickoff weekend in Candlestick ends with a kick. And the third field goal of this game for Jose Cortez. 16-13, your final. And now for Sean Jones, Paul Kennedy saying so long from San Francisco. We take you now to bonus coverage, the Rams and the Eagles. Here's Pat Summerall and John Madden.